Hey, it's Thomas Mulready from CoolCleveland.com, and we are here in Chicago at the Axpona High-End Audio Show, and we're talking with Miles Astor from Positive Feedback magazine. Miles, you are leading a panel discussion today on something that we thought was extinct decades ago, reel-to-reel tape. Is it really making a comeback?
Sure is. It has been, and thanks to some people out in the West Coast, it's been around for about 5 or 6 years now. And believe it or not, more and more software is coming out on reel-to-reel because we know high-end's about getting the best sound that we can in our homes, and there's many of us feel there's nothing better than a good 15 IPS reel-to-reel tape.
So this is really very high quality. It's stuff they would use in recording studios, really,
Exactly.
right? Now, are there labels like releasing, re-releasing? Is it new stuff? Where's it available?
Well, basically right now there's a couple different places. Elusive Disc has a site on their website for a couple different labels. There's the Tape Project, Opus 3, which is a Swedish label, and there's several others now. Phone from Italy will be releasing theirs on reel-to-reel. Jonathan Horwich, who's from Chicago himself, who's a great jazz aficionado, has a lot of tapes from the 60s that he did for different labels and new recordings and new retro jazz that Chicago's so hot on. That's on reel-to-reel. So there's a swell. Yes, it's a little expensive, but
Talk about the cost. What would an album cost if you got it on open reel 15-inch tape?
Reel nowadays, you could get for 125 to 150. But remember, back in 1958, it wasn't half the quality. It was $20, which with a CPI comes out to about $168. So the other albums, when you're talking about two reels, and also remember that the tape alone is $100. So you're starting, before any labor, before the rights to the artist and all that. So it's really a labor of love for these people who are doing it.
Of course, the other issue is finding the equipment and keeping it maintained. This stuff isn't really available commercially, or are they starting to make these again?
That's actually not quite true. There are some companies like Greg Barron, who's at the show, who's making tape decks, but there's zillions of Studers and Ampexes around, and there are companies who are making heads for them, and that's the main thing that wears out. Studer has a huge inventory of parts, so that's not really an issue anymore.
So are there places you can go that will help hook you up with the equipment, maybe repair something you got from grandpa or uncle or something?
Well, the best is resources, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. Keith Choi mentioned resources where to get stuff. The best is really online, finding and getting a good technician to help you. And then, again, choosing the right machine. If you use a professional machine, you're going to need a little more upkeep. You take something like a Techniques machine, a more prosumer machine, it stays in place more.
Where do you think this is all headed? Do you think the prices are coming down? You're going to have more selection? Are we going to see a Fleetwood Mac album on reel-to-reel tape soon?
Well, I think it's going to be looking at some new releases on reel-to-reel. I was just talking to Lynn Stanley, who's kind of a hot new artist out of California, and she was calling me the other week because Al Schmidt just did 18 tracks of hers, 16 are in analog. She's like, how do I release this on reel-to-reel? So I think a lot of the new artists are, catching on too. So I think that's what's exciting is getting new music. Yeah, the old fogies are going to have their stuff, but we want the young kids into it too.
And, of course, the young ones are putting it out on cassette these days, so why not reel-to-reel? Miles, thanks for taking a moment to talk with us.
Thomas.
Thank you so much. Hey, it's Thomas Mulready from CoolCleveland.com. Have a great week in Cool Cleveland.